On Asia Down Under, giving families options for a better way of life. A special report on the impressive work of a New Zealand aid agency in Thailand and Cambodia.
Hello and welcome to Asia Down Under. New Zealand has several aid agencies providing a range of support in developing countries around the world. These days, these organisations are adopting a far more sustainable approach by providing systems and infrastructure for long-term benefit. Freelance journalist Solina Theron reports on one such organisation that has projects in over 100 countries around the world.
In our world where we have abundant food and shelter, how can almost 2 billion people live in extreme poverty? And what are we doing to help those without hope? Here in Southeast Asia, many still live without basic human needs.
Around about 78% of the households had an income level that was below the Thai national poverty line, which is about $1.60 per day.
Philip Diaz, who wrote The End of Poverty, estimates around 60 to 80 million people live in slave-like situations all over the world. They work in plantations, clothing factories, or on the streets in order to exchange labour for food and shelter. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA, is one of many New Zealand non-governmental organisations working both here and abroad, trying to combat global poverty.
ADRA's not really a welfare agency. We're focused on development. Looking at all of the needs of the community and addressing each of those needs in a sustainable way. You know, we look at water and sanitation. We look at livelihoods. We want to do it in a way where in 5, 10, 15 years' time we can walk away and leave this community onto the next community, knowing that this community is going to continue on the work which we've been doing.
It's not about welfare. It's about giving the poor an avenue to earn an income in order for them to provide the basic necessities for their family.
The ADRA approach is to work with communities and build their capacity. It's not that we come in and do a lot of things for them, but our team of technical staff, be they water engineers or agricultural experts or citizenship experts, etc., they will work with the community, train them, build their capacity so that they then can undertake the changes that they need to make within their communities.
One project where the Thailand office is making huge progress is in the northern part of the country, where many of the ethnic minority hill tribes live.
We're on our way to see a village that ADRA's been working with for a little while. The project's called Adopt a Village, and one of the key components that ADRA does to help these people, to help the hill people, is to advocate on their behalf for citizenship.
Adopt a Village is a key project in Thailand. Its objective goes well beyond just citizenship. It also endeavours to find sustainable solutions to the problems of food shortage, debt and family income.
A big problem with these communities being ethnic minority is that a large portion do not have full citizenship. And this is a problem because without full citizenship you cannot officially have land title. You can't access the full range of healthcare programs in the government health system. You can't graduate from high school. You cannot move out of your district to look for employment elsewhere. And so there's a big issue of people being locked into poverty because they don't have full citizenship.
19-year-old Pata Mula has recently received her citizenship with help from ADRA. For Pata, this is like unlocking the door to a brighter future.
I now have rights to get things such as medical treatment and education. When I went travelling in the past, I was really afraid I might be captured. There are now more than 70 people who have citizenship. It's really helping our village.
In the past 18 months, 500 citizenship applications have been made in 15 hill tribe villages, and almost half of these applications have been approved. Before any further community development work can be started, the water and sanitation needs cleaning up. According to the United Nations, 6,000 children die every day because of water-related diseases. That's just over 2 million deaths globally each year.
This is the Pangkwai village. ADRA have just started working here, and as you can see, one of the things they like to get nice and clean is the water supply. One of the things that they put in are new water systems, and this is what these guys here are digging, and it's hard work. ADRA supply the materials, but these guys have got to do the labour.
The families being well from having clean water allows them more time to work in the fields, allows them more time to generate an income, which in turn affects their poverty level. If they can work, then they can earn an income and they can afford to feed the family.
Where are we going to go now?
We're just heading up to the water source for the water system for this village. It's about 4k up into the mountains here. Probably got another 2k to go on bike.
This gravity water system took months to construct. There's no machinery to dig holes to lay the pipes. Since its completion, life has improved significantly. Prior to this, these Aka tribe women and children spent hours each day walking up the mountain to fetch water, which wasn't always clean.
This is the reservoir where the villagers would actually come and collect their water from. It did have a small cover over it, but it was constantly getting contaminated with pesticides and other debris which would fall into it. And as a result, a lot of the village children would constantly become sick.
It was very difficult for us because we had to carry water from the water source. It was such a long way for all the women, so the children had to help carry the water as well.
Now, the children rarely get sick.
The water is now available in our houses. Nobody has to walk to carry water anymore. We can just turn on the tap and use it at home.
Now these issues are resolved, ADRA can chisel away at the more serious problems facing these hill tribes.
I'm standing right in the middle of the Golden Triangle. To our left we've got Laos, and over here is Myanmar. I'm in Thailand. Historically, this is one of the major trade routes for Southeast Asia. People would come and exchange goods. But today, one of the main things traded are people.
The hill tribe minorities are the perfect harvest ground for fresh bodies. The combination of ignorance, lack of education and poverty make the ideal recipe for human trafficking agents.
When people start to get into food insecure situations, then they become more desperate and they're willing to take risks that they would normally not take. One of the big risks is that human trafficking agents will come to a family who's in a debt crisis and will offer to find work for their sons or daughters outside of the community. Perhaps they say it's in the local town, district town, but more often, especially for girls, it's trafficked into the sex industry in the bigger cities in Thailand. And so that's a big risk that people become vulnerable to those problems because of this high level of poverty and indebtedness.
You may find this hard to believe, but there are more slaves today than at any other time in human history. Human trafficking has an annual global market of $42.5 billion. The UN estimates that around 2.5 million people are trafficked each year, with approximately half of those being children.
Rescuing young girls enslaved in prostitution is crucial in the war against trafficking. ADRA is trying to attack it from the other end by taking a preventative approach.
I guess you can rescue girls all day long out of traffic situations, but unless you address that root cause as to why these girls are being trafficked in the first place, you're going to be pulling girls out of brothels all day long.
Charlene Sapamong is currently project managing Thailand's Adopt a Village initiative.
There are many people from the town who own bar, karaoke shop or restaurant that hidden prostitute in the hidden. They came to the village and searched for the young girl, the most preferable, the girl who are not Thai. Without ID card, they can decrease the employment wage.
Millions of young girls are currently being trafficked from villages just like this one. The families and girls are generally ignorant of the traffickers' true intentions. Within the next 10 years, human trafficking will become the #1 worldwide earner for organised crime.
The Adopt a Village project really helps these hill tribes fight against trafficking. The project costs around $20,000 per year and usually takes around 3 years to complete.
The project also enables volunteers to be on the lookout to see if there are any young girls who are vulnerable targets.
Yes, the program is also linked to another project we have, which is the Keep Girls Safe project. So if children are at extreme risk, where families have taken the offer of traffickers, then children can be removed from a very at-risk family and placed in a shelter until such times as the family is then out of that vulnerable situation.
One of those girls who ADRA removed from a dangerous situation is Jade. She was rescued 2 years ago. As she is currently living at the safe house, we cannot show you her face or tell you her real name. Jade's now 12 years old. In her short life, she's already endured things many of us hopefully will never have to face. Jade was raped at 10. Abandoned by her parents, she was living with an ageing grandmother who couldn't care for her.
I was in a village in a remote area, and the villagers were afraid that if my grandmother died, then they wouldn't know what would happen to me. They knew I didn't have any other relatives, and my mother works in Bangkok, and she only visits me occasionally. So I was at a very big risk of being trafficked. When I was in the village, my life was not so good. But since coming here, I have a better life.
If ADRA hadn't have rescued her, she would have most likely ended up in a brothel in Bangkok.
There was a time that I felt like an angel sat beside me, and the angel told me to be a Christian. So right at the moment, I believe in God.
Do you believe God helped you to heal?
Yeah, God helped me.
In the upland and mountainous areas, there would literally be hundreds and hundreds of villages in similar situations. The worst villages are those that have problems of opium addiction, and we're actually surveying some of those villages at the moment that we'd love to work with in the future and help them overcome addiction and then build resilient and sustainable agricultural systems so that they also get out of poverty and get out of debt situations.
Our journey with Adventist Thailand has come to an end. It's now off to Cambodia to see their child and fish fingerling projects. Tourists now flock to the nation's capital, Phnom Penh. It's a starting point for a journey to visit the country's famous temples. But leave town and the makeshift shacks and dusty streets tell the story of a country still really struggling to rebuild from the horrors of war. Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge Revolution brought untold cruelty, starvation and death to so many. The communist dictatorship encouraged people to dob in their neighbours. Their crime? They were simply educated or wealthy. It left a people with little trust, no trust in their neighbours, their officials, and sometimes even their own family. The legacy is a country with no sense of community. It's something ADRA is trying to rebuild from the grassroots up.
How long, when will she harvest this garden?
Today we're off to see a village they've been working with for a while. The development work here is done through the Child Project, which stands for Child Health Improvement through Livelihood Development. It's currently in 30 villages across Cambodia. One of the main aims is improving children's lives through empowering their parents and the local community. New life skills are taught through small educational groups called reflex circles.
We've just arrived in the Bung village, which is about 2 hours north of Phnom Penh. I'm here to meet a lady who is the facilitator in one of the reflex circles.
This is Sin Pa. She says since doing the ADRA Child Project, her life's turned around. She now has the ability to earn a living so she can feed her children. And by Cambodian standards, she's considered quite wealthy. She believes her recent business success lies in the reflex circles run at her local village.
So these reflex circles are set up to create a sense of community, a place where the women feel safe to come and share their problems. What they do is they start off with a group discussion, and they talk about what the problems are which they're all facing, and then they'll decide on one problem. And from there, the group discusses the problem and comes up with a solution, a shared solution amongst the group, and then they decide on an action together.
The groups are also a platform for the women to learn a range of basic and necessary life skills, including numeracy and literacy, that are needed to earn a stable income. The success of the individual here relies on the survival of the community as a whole, and the ability of these damaged communities being able to work together. Sinpa's using her newfound skills to teach other families in her village how to get out of poverty. She now leads her own group of women determined to create a better future for themselves. One of the more serious issues here is domestic violence. A picture paints 1,000 words. The saying couldn't be more apt when you see some of these drawings, especially this one sketched by Ang Lee. For many years, Ang and her 5 children suffered from domestic violence.
My husband used to get drunk a lot and we'd fight. It would usually end up with him beating me up.
But over the past 2 years, since joining a group here, things have started to change. Ang shared her secret amongst friends, and they all worked together to help her find a solution.
We used to fight when he was drunk, but the group gave me some good advice, which really helped me deal with it.
It's taken 2 years to heal her family, and thanks to Adra, she now lives violence-free and is able to earn enough money to send her children to school. While the women study upstairs, the kids are kept busy downstairs with a preschool and a mobile library. The library is the first of its kind in the Kampong Tom district and gives these kids invaluable access to books. Mr. Lim's a rice farmer. He's also the librarian.
I've always worked in the community, and that's why I think Adra chose me to run the mobile library. I like the work because I can spread the messages in the books to all the villages. I asked Adra to send us more agriculture and healthcare books because the people here really need that sort of information.
To purchase the motorbike and the mobile library itself is actually around 3,000 New Zealand dollars. Then on top of that, Mr. Lim's cost to run it runs around $1,200 per year to pay his wages. Then in addition to that, you also have the cost of the books, which is only around 100 New Zealand dollars to fill that whole library full of books.
This is the only mobile library in the entire Barai district, and it services well over 1,000 women and children. Education here is free, but the cost of books and uniforms are unaffordable for most families. The average wage here for many is just over $1 a day. That's your entire budget to feed and clothe your whole family. So if one book on average costs 80 cents, you do the math. When you look at these people who are part of these projects, it's clear to see they now live with a sense of hope. Another successful project which is helping to build livelihoods is fish farms. This is Nai Ning. 6 months ago, she couldn't afford to provide for her family, but after joining the educational groups at her village, she now has new skills she's using to start her own fish farm.
Before it was difficult. There wasn't enough money, but since my fish farm has taken off, I've been able to buy my children clothes.
Her day starts early. Her small enterprise is at the back of her house, and catching them is a family affair. Back home, these fish wouldn't even make the markets. But for Cambodians, food is so precious, nothing goes to waste. Loading them onto the back of her bike, Nai cycles 2 kilometres to the market.
And how much money did she make today? Was it a good day?
I made about 20,000 real. That's about $5 to $6 US.
In Cambodian terms, this is the equivalent of 2 to 3 days' wages. Here, it's a lot of money.
I can use the money to buy clothes for my children and some groceries. It's a big success. I can make enough income from the fish to hire another person to help with our rye harvesting.
Setting up a fish fingerling project costs a little over $100. For many of us in the West, that's the cost of a new pair of shoes. But for people here, it's a shot at improving their livelihood for life.
So Nai Neng's story is one of success and the hope of a better future for both herself and her family. But as far as community development goes, there's still work to be done. Providing clean water is a major part of their projects. I'm on my way to look at villages that still need help. ADRA have their child project in 30 villages in Cambodia, and it's not hard to see the difference our small change makes here.
This is a village here where ADRA hasn't been. One of the first things that ADRA does when they come into a village is they fix the water and sanitation. And as you can see, this is a traditional well here, which doesn't have a concrete wall around it, which prevents rain coming in and flood waters coming in and contaminating the water, the drinking water.
He said that a lot of people has met the case of diarrhea, and he said that this is because of the hygiene and sanitation problem in this village is the major issue in here.
According to the World Health Organization, diarrhea remains the second leading cause of death among children under 5 globally. Nearly 1 in 5 child deaths, or about 1.5 million, is due to diarrhea. It kills more young children than AIDS, malaria and measles combined. Fixing the lack of toilets and getting the water clean is the first and most important step.
It's an open defecation in the bush or in the jungles behind the yards.
So that obviously would create a problem for if this area floods, then all their drinking water becomes contaminated?
Yes, like that.
Okay.
It's this lack of sanitation that's the world's biggest cause of infection. The village chief has seen the vast improvements ADRA's made, which is the main reason he's invited us here today, in hope that they can help his people too.
This programme was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.